Life is a highway. It's full of twists, turns, and complex issues to try and navigate. Welcome to Retire the Right Way with Anthony Wright of Retirement Specialty Group. Each week, you'll hear us discuss the pitfalls and common investing mistakes we see people make. We'll also educate you about the financial world and encourage you to think about solutions to some of the problems and question marks you might face in your own financial life. So let's get on the right road to retirement with Anthony Wright here on Retire the Right Way.
Hello and welcome into Retire the Right Way. I'm your host, Mark Killian, here alongside, as always, Anthony Wright from Retirement Specialty Group. Thank you so much for joining into the show today as we talk about the worlds of finance and retirement. We got a great show lined up today, a lot of things to discuss. We're going to dive into having a sense of urgency. We're going to talk about playing the blame game, which seems to happen all the time now, at least in the political world and the media world, but we're going to talk about it as it relates to financial stuff and some fourth quarter planning ideas to think about as well. But before we dive into all that, let me welcome in my co-host, the financial GPS himself, Mr. Anthony Wright from Retirement Specialty Group. Anthony, how are you, buddy?
Hey, Mark, I'm awesome, man. I'm awesome. Great. As always, I love doing the show with you, buddy.
Well, glad to have you here. And if you've got questions as it pertains to retirement and finance, well, Anthony's the guy to turn to here in the area by reaching out at 888-557-1993, 888-557-1993. Whether you're in Knoxville or Chattanooga, Crossville, Sparta, Fairfield, Glades, all around the area, Anthony can help you out. The team at Retirement Specialty Group can certainly help you out. So don't forget, 888-557-1993. You got to call, you got to take the action, you got to get on the calendar so that Anthony can talk with you about your situation and get you on that right path, get you that financial GPS to help you get turn by turn through retirement. And a sense of urgency goes a long way in getting these things done. So that's what we're going to talk about. Most people, Anthony, we know this, they procrastinate. I know you do about some things, I do about some things. We all do, right?
No, surely not. We don't all procrastinate, do we?
Well, yeah, no, we pretty much do. And whether it's, whether it's a diet, whether it's getting to the gym, whether it's a book you wanted to read, but you didn't get around to it, something. We always procrastinate about something. And our financial planning issues is certainly a place that we all do that throughout life. But when we're getting into that red zone, that financial red zone, procrastination is not
We are
good.
into football season,
and we are
so
in
you're
football
talking
season.
red zone.
Yep. There's going to be things that are going to push us faster into, okay, maybe I better get off my tush now and get something done. So let's discuss a few of those, Anthony. A big one, and that's been happening more and more, is maybe the loss of a job or maybe being forced into retirement or that early retirement buyout offer. These things are happening more and more.
Well, they are happening more and more, and whether it's companies downsizing or whether it's early retirement. And it's kind of ironic that, we're discussing this week because I had 3 people come in this week from companies that downsized, that got bought out, they lost their job. And it's happening more and more and more every day. And, you couldn't have picked a better topic. I just had that happen this week. So it's definitely going on out there in the world. And that'll certainly motivate you when you lose your job or when you get an early retirement or take a buyout. And, people are kind of a little bit panicky when that happens. But, I would just encourage folks not to be so panicky, but just kind of stay calm and remain calm the best way you can. And that's why we work on the plan. You mentioned our GPS, and that's why we do work on a plan, because if you work on a plan, then the plan works, right?
Yeah, and a lot of the things that we're going to talk about here, so if these things happen because Murphy's Law is going to strike, maybe the early retirement buyout offer, maybe that's something that does help, offset the losses of the wages. But obviously a first place to start is if you have that plan working for you, you're going to maybe, hopefully anyway, have some emergency funds available. That's the first piece that's going to help you through that time period when you maybe lose the job or the early buyout. And then also, clearly, if you do get a retirement package, you need to sit down with a qualified professional and discuss it to find out how does it fit into your overall strategy, whether it's, the payments, the lump, so on and so forth. So a lot of those pieces become real important in that communication, right, Anthony, with your advisor?
Oh, absolutely. And one of these days, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to find who Murphy is.
Yeah. Lately, he's been trouble.
I hate Murphy's Law, but anyway, it happens, right? So,
yeah, it does.
But we're gonna find out who Murphy is one of these days. But yeah, let's take into account too. A lot of folks out there, Mark, have a rapidly approaching retirement date.
Okay,
and that's something that will really motivate you to get you going. Because if you're sitting there and you're thinking 5 years ago, you're thinking, well, I got 5 years left to retirement. Well, now all of a sudden you find yourself going, oh, wow, I'm like really close to retirement.
Yeah, you tend to put it off and procrastinate. Yeah. Sneaks up on you.
You do. And I had a lady that listens to our show, by the way. I'm sure she's listening today. She listens to us every single week, and she called in last week, and she said, I've been procrastinating, putting off for a long, long time. And she said, I really need to get in there and talk to you because retirement's just like 6 months away.
Oh, wow. That is putting it off.
Yeah. So, it happens, and for some unknown reason, a lot of people do that, and a lot of people seem to put it off. But I would just really encourage folks that are listening today, don't be procrastinating, don't be putting things off. The hardest thing to ever do is pick up the phone and give us a call and get started, right? And my wife and I have been doing a lot of exercising and eating and stuff over the past month. And, the hardest part, Mark, is always getting started. The hardest part is to get up out of bed at 5 a.m. when the alarm goes off and go do it, right?
That is
once
for
you
sure.
get started, then everything seems to just fall into place and everything seems to work. That's kind of the way it is with retirement. If you're staring a rapidly approaching retirement date in the future, then just like you said at the opening statement, just get off your duff, pick up the phone, call us, text us, email us, get an appointment with us. And we'd love to sit down and talk with you and help you get on the right track. Make sure you stay on the right track.
Yeah, and just because you call and come in for a consultation doesn't mean you have to do business. It's just a chance to kind of see where you're at, get some information, get a second opinion on things. There's so many times in life where, you want to get a second opinion. You want to double check the math, if you will, to make sure things are right. And obviously in this case, it's really double checking the math. So you really want to make sure that you take the time to reinvest in yourself. I mean, look, Anthony can help you with a lot of things, but at the end of the day, the advisor shouldn't care more about your retirement than you do.
That's right.
So, you have to take your part in the action and say, okay, maybe things aren't where I want them to be right now. So, and retirement is coming in faster, or I did get that offer to buy out my retirement. I really want to get more than just one opinion on this. Shop around, talk to a couple different advisors and get some opinions, and then find out that fit that feels good for you, that you can talk with someone and say, okay, now I need some advice. Let's talk about the nitty gritty. How does this look? How's this going to shake out? Because this is what I want to accomplish. I've got goal A, B, and C. How can we get there? And that's a lot of what the financial GPS is designed to do. When you sit down with Anthony, he gets all this data and this information and collects it together from things that you have and sits there, plugs it in, and you can start talking about Social Security maximization and, your life insurance and your different bucket streams that you've got going on. And that's how the GPS pulls together, right, Anthony?
Absolutely. And it not only pulls it all together, but it also takes a look at what you're currently paying in fees. And I find, Mark, very few people know and even realize what they're paying in fees. We had a client just a couple of weeks ago that worked 40 years in the industry, and once I sat down with them and laid it out there in front of them, here's how much you're paying in fees, and here's how much we can save you. It was like a 17 basis points savings. That's quite a bit of money when you're talking about a decent sized retirement account. And he didn't even know that. And he had been in the industry for 40 years. So the GPS is going to help uncover a lot of different things like that. It's going to help go into great detail about how is your risk score and what is your risk score. A lot of folks, when they come into the office, they don't even know that there is a risk score. So, are you very high risk? Are you not risk enough? Are you not?
We just say, I don't want to have any risk, and that's it. But we don't realize there's more to it than that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's more to it than that. So, what I would say, again, I would just say, listen, folks, if you're listening today, don't procrastinate anymore. Pick up the phone, call me at 888-557-1993. Again, that's 888-557-1993. If you're text savvy, pick up your phone, text RSG. That's for Retirement Specialty Group. And you'll want to text that to the number 555-888. And, hey, if you'd like to send me an email, shoot me an email, info@retirementspecialtygroup.com. But I look forward to hearing from you. I look forward to helping you, but it's up to you. You got to pick up the phone, call me, or shoot me an email.
All right. You heard the man. Go ahead and give him a call. We're going to talk more about the sense of urgency and some things that can approach us as we get closer to retirement here on Retire the Right Way. But the idea is that procrastination is a killer. You got to make sure you get off your tush and do it. You'd get a second opinion on your health, you might as well get one on your wealth. It's always a good idea to do so. So give Anthony a call, 888-557-1993. That is 888-557-1913 to talk with Anthony Wright from Retirement Specialty Group. No cost, no obligation. Keywords, no cost, no obligation. Just reach out and get started today. You're listening to Retire the Right Way. We'll be right back.
Lewis Carroll once said, "If you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there." Now, while that may be true, wouldn't it be better to know where you are going and exactly how to get there? With a customized financial GPS from Retirement Specialty Group, you won't have to wonder if any road you take towards retirement will work, because you will know that you are getting there right on time. For your free financial GPS, call 888-557-1993. That's 888-557-1993 for your no-cost, no-obligation consultation. Hey everybody, safety tip alert coming up. Driving a car while sleeping is prohibited by law in the state of Tennessee. Boy, I sure hope so, and will definitely keep you from going the right way. Now, back to the show. And here's Mark and Anthony.
You're back here with us on Retire the Right Way. I'm Mark Killian alongside Anthony Wright of Retirement Specialty Group. Anthony and I are coming to you here on the airwaves talking about the worlds of finance and retirement in Knoxville, Chattanooga, Crossville, Sparta, all points in between. And of course, we do this each and every week, and we certainly appreciate you tuning into the show. But it's oh so important that you reach out to Anthony. You know, we beat you over the head throughout the program with the phone number because it's important to catch you while you're driving to and from church, or maybe you're out in the yard, the garden, whatever the case is, that you go ahead and take a minute, write the number down, call Anthony, and get yourself a no obligation, no cost appointment to just sit down and say, hey, this is what I got, this is where I'm at, what am I looking like, am I going to be okay in retirement? And if not, get yourself that financial GPS. It's complimentary from Anthony Wright. Get that plan in place and start working towards that retirement goal. I mean, hey, look, after 30, 40, 45, 50 years of work, it's certainly worth an hour of your time and nothing else to find out where you stand. So with that, Anthony, let's talk more about the sense of urgency that happens when we get close to retirement, and the unexpected happens, or things that pop up that unfortunately are going to happen as we age. And the biggest one, obviously, is if we lose our partner, if we lose our spouse. Obviously, it's an emotional, tough time, but now you've got the compounded problem of being close to retirement and losing all that extra financial aid.
Well, it is. I mean, I hate to use the term here, but it really is a killer. I mean, it really, really stinks. And, you know, you've lived your whole life with your spouse, and you've got their income coming in, you've got their retirement coming in, and you're really dependent on it. And let's just be honest, Mark, nobody wakes up tomorrow or nobody goes to bed tonight going, you know, gee, I think I'll die, right? I mean, it just doesn't happen.
We certainly hope not.
Yeah, so it always catches folks by surprise. And just 2 weeks ago, I had a couple in my office, and his wife had passed away about 6 months ago. He was just really, really struggling, and was really still had some leftover medical bills from she had Alzheimer's, and it was just a really bad situation. But we were able to work them through it. We were able to get them through it and get them on their feet. And he had his daughter with him, and he and his daughter, and sat down with me, and we were able to spend some time and get it going. But you know, the death of the spouse, that's a very tough thing to go through, and it's something that I deal with just about on a daily basis with clients, because, you know, as you've mentioned many times on here, I've got offices in Knoxville and Chattanooga and Fairfield Glade and Sparta. And when you're running 4 or 5 offices around the state of Tennessee, and you're meeting with people on a daily basis, 3 to 5 people a day, I mean, that's a lot of people in a week. And just about every single day, someone will come into one of my offices and they will be dealing with the death of a spouse. So it's a tough thing to go through, but we can certainly get you through it. And you and I have certainly talked about, there's a lot of days I'm a financial guy, but there's a lot of days I'm a counselor too.
No, that's very true. Yeah. And obviously your background as a pastor certainly helps lend to that, having those conversations that are also emotional and consoling and things of that nature. But we'll keep it in the financial realm for here. And look, it's an unpleasant topic, folks, but it is going to happen. The statistics are the statistics. One of us is going to go. And Anthony, it seems like it's usually the one who was the financial carried the weight, I guess, if you will. Not from an earning standpoint, but usually it always seems like in a couple, there's one person that's finances more their thing than the other. And so they tend to kind of lead the charge, if you will, with the finances. And then they pass, and the other person, be it the man or the woman, is also now left behind the eight ball because they're not as up on what they're invested in, what it's costing them, and what the plan looks like because they just weren't involved as much. It's so important that both members of the family are working with the advisor together, especially as we're getting into the retirement years, so that if something happens, you are prepared.
Yeah, and not only that, Mark, but again, a gentleman I'm thinking about right now, he comes by the office usually once a month. He comes by and stops in just simply because he's lonely. So, you and I are talking about the financial side of losing a spouse, but then you've got the emotional side of losing the spouse where you're lonely, you don't have your partner there, you don't have your friend there, you're just in a very lonely state. And so it's just tough. I mean, there is no way to try to candy coat it and make it easy. It is tough, but the best thing and the best advice that I can give to those listening today is that you have your ducks in a row before that happens. Now, obviously, we don't know one day to the next. I mean, are we going to live 5 more years or 5 more days or 50 more years? You just don't know, right?
No, for sure.
We can get your ducks in a row, and we can line some things up just in case it happens. And as long as you'll come in and sit down and talk to us, and I love how you say you don't even have to become a client. If you just want to come in and sit down and talk, it's totally 100% complimentary, and we won't charge you anything to come in and just sit and talk and kind of locate us and us locate you, and let's just see, are your ducks in a row in the event that you did lose a spouse? I mean, you're talking losing Social Security payments, losing. I've got a couple right now that if she passes away, he's making money off of the long-term care, her being in the facility. So there's just a lot of different scenarios, but I would really encourage you, since we're talking about a sense of urgency, I would really encourage the listeners today, do not procrastinate in this area, and let's be sure we get your ducks in a row before something bad does happen.
Yeah, and it sucks to have to be able to have a conversation about this where it is a little negative, it is a little dark, but it's the realities of life. You cannot put your head in the sand and say, well, it's not going to happen to us, because it's going to. I mean, last time I checked, the mortality rate for us humans is 100%. Nobody's getting out of this joker with a free pass. So,
That's right.
So we just want to make sure that we're doing the right things. And hey, it's also, even if you need a little bit of extra motivation, think about the opposite side of the coin. Your troubles are over. If you're the one that goes, don't leave your spouse behind with a lot of situations that they're just not prepared for. Help them be prepared. Get in touch with an advisor. Sit down with them. Find the right advisor that works for both of you. Anthony can certainly help you with that. 888-557-1993. All right, Anthony, I saved the big one for last here. Normally, the death of a spouse is obviously the big one, but we would be remiss if we didn't talk about ye old market that is just cruising along. It seems as though it does not matter what Mother Nature throws at us, what the Grand Poobah up there in D.C. talks about or tweets about or anything else. It seems as though the market just keeps trucking along. And I think what's happening for a lot of people is, we've talked a lot about this. It's been going for second longest run ever. But I think what happens is it now begins to lull people into a false sense of security. It lulls us into a feeling that I'll just keep doing this, this, and this. And there's certainly nothing wrong with staying in the market, keeping up with inflation, getting some growth. But at some point, don't you really need to start thinking about taking some off the top, making sure that you're diversified properly, that your risk is set the right way depending on your time horizon, so that when the inevitable shows up, because at some point it will, you are prepared and you are not caught holding the bag.
Absolutely, 100% yes. I mean, we went through this in 2008, and how quick we Americans forget. Yeah. Oh, let me tell you right now, we forget. We get lulled to sleep just like a baby, just rocking in that rocker, and all of a sudden you wake up one morning and bam, who would have ever dreamed that on 9/11 the airplanes would have crashed into the Twin Towers and everything would have come crashing down? And everybody needs to understand, and everybody needs to really grasp what's happening here. Every day that you go to sleep and every day that you don't move and take your earnings off the table is another day that you're gambling and that you're close to losing a lot of money if the market crashes. Now, obviously nobody can predict it. If we could, we'd have more money than Forrest Gump, right? So if we could predict it, that would be one thing. But we do have wisdom on our side. We have charts on our side. And it's certainly not anything, Mark, that you'd have to run and just, all of a sudden take everything out of the market. But we do need to be smart about it. And so I use the rule of 100, which is 100 minus your age. So if you're 70 years old, 100 minus 70 is 30%. 30% is all I want to see in the market. That way, if we have a big market correction, and let me tell you something, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. I mean, we're teeter-totting back and forth. Is this war with North Korea going to top it over if we end up in a war? What is going to happen that's going to send it spiraling downward? And let's just be honest here. Really, what's happening right now is folks are going to the blackjack table, they're going to the craps table, and every single morning when you wake up, you're waiting on a news report. And is the market going to crash today, or is it going to be another day? Or is it going to be another month or another year? So not to try to strike fear into people.
It's just the
that's not
reality.
the purpose of it. It's just we have to be smart. The Bible, you've mentioned on here before that I'm still an ordained minister to this day. I still do a lot of speaking. And, the Bible puts it this way. You're wise as serpents, but you're harmless as doves. So you got to be wise. I mean, you got to be very wise. And I think using the rule of 100 is wise. I think that's 100 minus 60 if you put 40% at risk and you keep 60% safe. If you're 70, you put 70% safe and 30% risk. So I think that's being very wise. I think it's very wise to pull some of your earnings off the table. And if you go down to the blackjack table, or you go down to the craps table, and you're up, say, 100% or 50% or 80%, I mean, good grief, you don't just continue to just take that risk and gamble it. Because as my grandmother told me one time, what goes up must come down, right?
Yep, and then she whacked you.
And then she whacked me.
No, but it's really a great point, because the reason we have to kind of keep coming back to this topic is because it's just so relevant right now. We get lulled to sleep. We start finding ourselves, greed takes over. It's all understandable. Maybe you were behind with your investments or your retirement, numbers. You wanted them to be higher, so you're writing it a little longer, just see if I can get a little bit more out of it. And that's totally understandable. And again, no one's saying take everything out. No one's saying anything specific other than concepts right now need to be, let's look at all the options that might be the best available at this moment, because even though no one can predict when it's going to take a downturn, history says that it will at some point, and we are at least always one day closer to when it could. So when you're hearing this broadcast, it is one day closer to when it could, and then the next day it's another day closer. And so you never know what's going to trigger it, and I know right now it seems to be impervious to that stuff, but it's going to happen. So be smart, be prudent with that retirement nest egg that you've worked so hard for, and talk with an advisor and say, okay, here's what I've got. I've got, this smattering of stuff. Come in with all your statements and your different places that you've got stuff, and you got it here and you got it there and you got it around the square, and say, here's what I've got. How can we better set this up so that I can continue to work with some of these gains, but I can protect my backside so that I'm okay? Hey, it's football season, right? You got to watch the blind side.
That's right.
Otherwise, somebody's going to come up and get you from the from behind. So that quarterback's going to take that sack, and you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So reach out to Anthony. Use that sense of urgency that we've talked about here today on Retire the Right Way. 888-557-1993 is your number to call. What happens when you do that? You simply call. You leave your information. The team will get back with you, help you in whatever way you need to be helped. They'll get you on the appointment calendar, whether you're in Chattanooga, Knoxville, Crossville, Sparta, Fairfield Glades, wherever. They'll get you on the calendar. Anthony will come in, talk with you, sit down, have a conversation. You'll have a good time. He's a likable guy, and you'll just have a good chat about you and your unique situation. After that, you can determine what the next process is and go from there. But if you'd like to get that complimentary financial GPS from Anthony Wright, it's 888-557-1993. Oh, we'll call it for the next 10 callers, but whoever. Go ahead and call right now. Get yourself on the calendar. That's the most important thing. 888-557-1993. No cost, no obligation with Anthony Wright. You're listening to Retire the Right Way. We'll be right back.
What is the one thing more precious than gold, cannot be bought or sold, and that we all wish to have more of? Did you guess time? If so, that's correct. Time, and it is fleeting. So let's not let time stand in our way. Pick up the phone and call Anthony Wright at Retirement Specialty Group today and make sure your retirement plans will be ready and waiting right on time. Call 888-557-1993. That's 888-557-1993.
It's time for a Tennessee tidbit.
Did you know Elvis Presley's home, Graceland, is located in Memphis? It is the second most visited house in the country. Can you guess the number one most visited? Here's a hint. It's white.
You're back with us here on Retire the Right Way. Mark Killian and Anthony Wright of Retirement Specialty Group hanging out with you on the airwaves today here in Tennessee. Give Anthony a jingle if you'd like to talk to him about your unique, specific financial situation, and get yourself on the appointment calendar for a no-cost, no-obligation consultation, and just have a good conversation about what's going on in your financial world as you're getting close to the old financial red zone, right? It's football season. We're going to continue to say this a lot. You're in that 5-10 years outside of retirement. You are in the red zone, and you want to make sure that you're taking the right steps because, as we all know, if we watch football, a misstep in the red zone can be pretty hard to overcome, and it gets a little tougher to kind of, get those gains back, if you will. So the defense gets tighter, right, Anthony? Gets harder gets harder to punch it in. Same kind of thing with retirement. So it gets a little more difficult when you make a misstep in retirement. So we spend a lot of years accumulating wealth. Let's make sure we're doing the right things when we get to that preservation phase. Anthony can help you. 888-557-1993. Anthony, we won't get too political here, but let's be honest. The blame game is all the rage everywhere you turn right now. Everyone wants to point the finger at someone else and say, this is why I didn't win this, or this is why I lost that, or this is whatever the case is. And of course the media, and I know it's funny that we're on the air talking, but the media is pretty heavy right now and always pointing the finger in a different direction. Well, what we'll do is we'll bring this into the financial world and say, okay, things are going to happen, and are you going to sit and play the blame game, or are you going to work with an advisor, get yourself back up on your feet and going in the right direction? Because it's really easy and totally valid to come in, and I'm sure you've seen this, Anthony. Someone's come in and sat down before you and said, Anthony, my divorce, man, it really messed me up financially. And that's probably true. But how long have you been kind of carrying on about this versus doing something?
Well, I mean, that's always the magic potion right there. I mean, how long has it been going on, right? I mean, look, if we sit down in advance, if we sit down today, we can set things up where divorce doesn't even hurt you. You guys that are listening out there, I've mentioned this before. I work with about 4 different attorneys, estate attorneys. We do a lot of irrevocable trust. Irrevocable trust can be also divorce proof. I love what a very wise man told me one day. He said, young man, you got to understand when you're pointing one finger at somebody else, you've got 3 pointing right back at you. If you plan accordingly, you can get back on your feet and you can overcome it. I've worked with many, many, many divorced folks, and probably if I had to specialize in anything at all, it would be working with divorced families and blended families, and that's probably because I'm a blended family myself. I know that world, and I know that side of the world, and it just starts with simply not pointing fingers at everybody else, but let's just sit down, put a good plan together, work the plan, and let's get you on the right track, and then let's hold you on the right track.
Well, that's a lot of it right there, right? So there's these things are going to step up when we, when life strikes, and that's a big theme of today's show. Life is going to strike. Things are going to happen. Usually, a divorce doesn't hit you out of the blue. Usually, it does happen from time to time. Usually, you see it coming. Usually, hopefully anyway, you've been working with a counselor and things of that nature, trying to repair things. So making sure that you're taking the right steps is obviously very, very important. There's a lot of things you can do, and there's certainly nothing wrong with going out and getting some information and some education to make sure that you're protecting yourself the best way you can. I know another one you might hear, Anthony, is, boy, I'd be better along in retirement if my broker hadn't steered me wrong.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true. I do hear that a lot. And sometimes that is the case. I mean, I can't deny that. Sometimes that is the case, and I've certainly had people that the advisor did them wrong. But at the same time, look at the last segment, Mark, that you and I just did, right? Here I am publicly telling people, folks, take some of your earnings off the table. You don't have to bail 100%. You don't have to get out of the market 100%. But right now, the market is on fire at an all-time high. And I ask people all the time, I say, listen, do you want to buy high and sell low? or do you want to buy low and sell high? What's the objective here? Take some of your earnings off the table. And I know a lot of times people want to point fingers, and I know a lot of times possibly you had a bad experience. Be evenly balanced. Use the rule of 100. 100 minus your age, and let that amount be the amount that's in the market. That way, when the market correction happens, you're not going to take a bloodbath. I have helped a lot of people through it. You are hearing me tell you that it is a matter of time. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when is this market going to correct. And I'm telling you, folks, use the rule of 100. Be evenly balanced, take some of your earnings off, and don't blame me if you lose 50% of your 401k. So if your 401k becomes a 201k, don't blame the broker, right?
Yeah, obviously, folks, before you take any action, make sure you speak with your professional advisor, your qualified advisor, before you take any action. But when you're thinking about this, what we're talking about here today is being smart, being prudent, and making sure that you're weighing your options. Because, again, the goal is to buy low and sell high. And if it's at all-time highs, it's not the worst thing to think about, maybe taking a little bit off the top, or at least moving that into some safer vehicles to help make sure that you're going to protect yourself in the event that there is some sort of downturn, whether it's 5, 10, 15, 20, or 25%, who knows, whatever the case is. Point is we want to make sure we're taking some action and being smart. 888-557-1993 is a number to talk to Anthony Wright more about it, whether you just want to have a good debate with him or you want to come in and have a conversation about it. Whatever the case is, at least take some action, get that conversation rolling. 888-557-1993. Anthony, let's finish off here today on the blame game with, Wall Street always wins, the system's rigged, and there's no chance for the little guy. Do you agree with that?
Well, no, I mean, to some degree. Look, there's a few people out there, big guys, that can swing the market like that, I suppose. But listen, at the end of the day, if you work off of a good plan, you work that plan, you stay with that plan, and you stay the course, you're going to be all right. I mean, at the end of the day, the market is what's going to help us outpace inflation. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. That is financial planning 101. So, yeah, I understand that the system's rigged and Wall Street always wins. That's what you think. But listen, Wall Street can only win if you stay in the market and allow Wall Street to pull it back. Yeah. If you'll be smart about it, pull it off the table right now. Take your winnings and let's pull them off the table. Guess what? Wall Street will not win.
All right. Well, what do? We go ahead and call Anthony Wright and we say, look, let's have a conversation about how to get me more balanced, how to get me more in the right setup so that I'm not losing too much of my hard-earned nest egg, especially, I love how you mentioned it earlier, Anthony. This happened in 2001. It happened again in 2008. And we humans tend to get greedy and just forget about these things because stuff is going so good. I'll even give you another simple analogy. I've been dealing with some back problems, which you know of, Anthony, and I've been going to the chiropractor, and that's been helping. And you know what? I turned a blind eye to the fact I needed to continue to take weight off because I'm feeling better. The chiropractor's working. He's making me feel better. Great. Well, guess what happens? Go ahead and have a bigger problem. Now I'm looking at more complicated procedures to get things fixed because I got lazy. I got complacent. And it's the same thing that can happen with our retirement portfolio, and we don't want to make the mistakes we tend to seem to make every, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. So let's go ahead and talk to Anthony about how to be better, properly diversified, and better protected, and have ourselves a good plan that works for us with some growth, some safety, some liquidity, all the things we need for a good, strong, healthy financial plan. Get that financial GPS, 888-557-1993, 888-557-1993. Don't wait, call now. Grab the cell phone that you have on your hand. This is not one of those call now and get a free toaster. This is call now and get yourself a plan that's going to help you retire successfully. That's the whole point. So go ahead and grab a pen, pencil, crayon, eyeliner, whatever it is that you got handy, write the number down and give Anthony a jingle. 888-557-1993. When we come back, we're going to do our email questions from around the area because we're going to talk about fourth quarter planning today at the end of the show, which would be in the fourth quarter. So we'll be right back.
Hey folks, Miss Lita here. Are you tired of financial pitchmen who think the same square peg financial plan is the right fit for every retiree? Then do yourself a favor and call Anthony Wright at Retirement Specialty Group and see what it's like to work with an advisor with a plan and not a salesperson with a pitch. Call 888-557-1993 and experience the difference. During the War of 1812, Tennessee soldiers volunteered for and also fought very well in the Battle of New Orleans. This is where we get the name the Volunteer State.
You're back here with us on Retire the Right Way. Mark and Anthony here on the radio waves with you, talking about the worlds of finance and retirement. 888-557-1993 is the number for you to call to talk with Anthony Wright. Get yourself on the calendar and have a conversation about your unique, specific financial situation. 888-557-1993. You want to text? Go ahead and text him. Text the letters RSG to 555-888. That's RSG to 555-888 there on your smartphone. Follow the prompts, real easy to do. And finally, if you want to, go by the website. Check them out on the website. Lots of good tools and tips and resources there. That is retirementspecialtygroup.com, retirementspecialtygroup.com. You can also send an email if you'd like to get an email question asked or answered here on the show. If you don't want to have it read, that's no problem. You can still send the email question anyway, and the team will get right back with you and help you out. Again, that's retirementspecialtygroup.com. Check them out on Facebook as well, Retirement Specialty Group. All right, our email questions from around the area. Our first one is from Chattanooga, and it's Trixie. I haven't heard the name Trixie in a long time.
I know, that's cool.
Well, Trixie, thank you so much for sending in a question, and love your name. And here's your question. She says, Anthony, I am being forced into early retirement at 57 with my job at the state. I'll have my pension, but that alone is just not going to be enough to live on. Do you think I should look for another job since I'm still too young to pull Social Security and to withdraw from my IRAs? Yeah, 57, I guess she would be, so.
I don't know. I mean, it would really depend on what type of non-qualified savings that you have. I kind of take it by the question you're asking here. Maybe the only savings you have is your IRA. So, I'd really need to know a little bit more information on the non-qualified side. Now, for those of you listening today, the non-qualified side means money that taxes have already been paid on. So certainly, Trixie, you could pull from that non-qualified account simply because the 59.5 doesn't even come into effect. So I'd be interested to know if there was a couple of other avenues we possibly could use to get you to age 59.5. So if you're 57, we're talking about maybe 2.5 more years. That's all we got to get you down the road is 2.5 more years. So possibly a money market, some CDs, money you've got buried in the backyard, non-qualified brokerage accounts, non-qualified annuities. I don't really think you want to begin to pull from that IRA and take that 10% penalty. So I would just have to know a little more information.
Well, and at 57, Trixie, you could be looking easily at 30 years in retirement. So you could, 87 especially for ladies is certainly right there in those mortality tables. So certainly something that you want to consider there as well. You could be looking at a 30-year retirement. So it may not be the worst idea to look for something else. 888-557-1993 is the number to call, Trixie, to talk with Anthony. 888-557-1993. Actually, since you're in Chattanooga, I think you're going to be in Chattanooga this week, I think, coming up.
Absolutely,
So,
yeah.
Give a call and stop on by the office and talk with him. All right, our next question is from Sam in Crossville. Sam says, all right, Anthony, here's the deal. I have always been told that I'd be in a lower tax bracket in retirement and that I should be putting as much into my 401k as possible. I should be maxing that joker out. Well, guess what? I'm retired and I am not in a lower tax bracket, and now all of my savings are going to be taxed as ordinary income. What the heck went wrong here?
The reason people always say take all you can take from the 401k, Sam, is usually because there's a matching involved. So usually a company will say, if you contribute up to 6% of your annual salary, we will match that dollar for dollar, or we will match that 50%. So whatever it is, it's free money. I mean, how do you beat free money? I mean, you're going to let the company pay you and put that in your retirement account. So all you got to do is just know what those guidelines are and then stay to those guidelines. If it's 6% and they match it 3%, then hey, that's 3% that you didn't have. I mean, that's 3% free money. So definitely I would agree with that. You would want to max that 401k out and get what you can get. Now, being retired and not in a lower tax bracket, that, unfortunately, is always a myth that people kind of tend to lean toward. They think if I retire, I'm going to be in a lower tax bracket. That is just simply not the case. Now that you're retired, you're not in a lower tax bracket, and all of your savings are going to be taxed as ordinary income. I don't know about all of your savings because money that is non-qualified money is not going to be taxed as ordinary income. So the only thing that's going to be taxed as ordinary income would be what would be in a 401k or what would be in an IRA. That is going to be taxed as ordinary income. There's some things you can do with a CPA that can get your tax bracket down. So instead of maybe being in a 20 or 25% tax bracket, you can get with a good CPA and get you down there to a 10 to 15% tax bracket. They do some cool things nowadays. So I would really recommend that you get with a good CPA. If you need one, I've got 4 that I work with. I'd be happy to recommend them for you and get that done. But we can get you down there in the right tax bracket where you need to be.
888-557-1993. Sam, 888-557-1993, the number to call. Our final question this week on the mailbag, Anthony, is from Tony. Hey, Anthony, Tony. Does anybody ever call you Tony, by the way?
Yeah. Yep. As long as they call me when they need financial help, I don't care what they call me.
I hear you. All right, for Tony, this is the Anthony question. Anthony for Tony, here we go. He's in Knoxville. So Tony says, Anthony, I have always handled my retirement planning myself without any professional help, and I think I've done a pretty good job. Is there any important little thing that someone like myself, a DIY person, might be missing you could recommend?
Oh, absolutely. We could spend the whole rest of the segment on that one. Again, Tony, thanks for writing in. I appreciate you writing in. Occasionally, I do have people call me Tony, so you and I relate there on the same name. I like your name. I bet Tony is short for Anthony, so you probably have the same name as I do. Doing it yourself, DIY. Look, am I going to go out and build my own deck? Probably not. Am I going to paint my own house? I might paint a wall in my house. So there's a time that you need a professional. Right now is the time that you're going to need a professional. Now, no disrespect here, and let me go ahead and go on record and get this out there. Congratulations to Tony for doing a great job. You've done a great job. I congratulate you on doing a great job. With that being said, in a straight-up market, it doesn't take a lot to do a really good job, because in a market as hot as we've been in here recently, Tony, it's pretty easy to pick some good winners because it doesn't really matter which one you pick. It's going to be a winner. So now we're finding ourselves in a situation where we are way overdue for a market correction. This is when you would want to pick a professional. You would want to sit down and say, now I'm getting ready to not just build my deck. Now I'm getting ready for a custom built home. Now I'm getting ready for a more specialized type of thing.
Yeah,
so,
makes sense. Yep.
Yeah, you're starting now where you're going into your retirement and you can't afford to mess up. You can't afford to have your income dissipate on you when you're retired. So, look, reach out to me, give me a call. We'll put it in the financial GPS. We'll see where you're going, where you're headed, how you want to get there. We'll take a look at the fees you're paying. Let's sit down and take a look at it. Let's sit down and see what you got. So give me a call at 888-557-1993, and I'd be happy to sit down with you, Tony, take a look at it. And also, if you're listening today and you want to shoot me a text the word RSG to 555-888. And shoot, if you want to send me an email, just send it to info@retirementspecialtygroup.com. I look forward to hearing from you. Can't help you if you don't call me, so pick up the phone, give me a call, 888-557-1993.
All right, Tony, we certainly appreciate the question. Yeah, I would agree with Anthony on that, is that you've done a great job, and in all seriousness, kudos for doing that. But when you switch to retirement, when you go from the accumulation to the preservation and the distribution phase of your retirement, it definitely becomes a little bit more complicated, and missteps are certainly more costly in this arena. So I would say a great piece of advice would be to at least sit down and talk with a couple of financial professionals and ask some more one-on-one questions and find out some things you could be missing there. And then you may find that it makes more sense for you to go ahead and do business and work with someone who can help you avoid those little landmines that are going to certainly pop up in retirement, because it is a totally different gear change. It's a different animal than when you're accumulating that wealth through life. 888-557-1993. Trixie, Sam, Tony, anybody out there in the area listening who wants to talk with Anthony Wright, it's a chance for you to sit down and talk specifically with Anthony about your situation. 888-557-1993. There's no cost. There's no obligation. It's simply a chance to get some more information and education. You'll certainly walk out of the meeting with some more knowledge than you had before you got there. 888-557-1993 to take advantage of this great offer for a no-cost, no-obligation consultation at Retirement Specialty Group with Anthony Wright. 888-557-1993. We'll be back with our final section on the show this week to talk about the fourth quarter planning, some things to think about as the year's winding down. We'll be right back.
For your free financial GPS, call 888 888-557-1993. That's 888-557-1993 for your no-cost, no-obligation consultation.
Have a question for Anthony? Just shoot us an email at info@retirementspecialtygroup.com. That's info@retirementspecialtygroup.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook at Retirement Specialty Group.
Well, we're cruising down the home stretch here today on Retire the Right Way. Going to wrap up the show this week with a little fourth quarter talk as the year is winding down. And, Anthony, if you think about that, it's kind of crazy to say that already, but 2017 is beginning to wind down.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Where the heck did it all go? So the year can catch up on us fast. And if you want to talk to Anthony about some fourth quarter planning tips or techniques, stop by the website, retirementspecialtygroup.com. And again, give him a call, 888-557-1993. All right, so we're heading into the fourth quarter here, Anthony. Let's talk about a few things that we can, some simple ideas, some various things just to kind of think about as the year's winding down. Maybe we should do, bullet point A, B, C, D. You give us a few things to think about here.
All right, sure. Yeah, here's a couple things I would think about coming into the end of the year. I mean, obviously, you kind of want to evaluate your IRA or possibly your Roth contribution options. What do I mean by that? Well, you want to look and make sure you maximize that and make sure you take advantage of that IRA. What if you're only contributing $5,500 a year? Now at your age, you can flip over into the category of the catch-up category where now you can contribute $6,500 a year. Also, possibly have things changed over this year? Maybe did you leave where you were working and you've now started your own business? If you've now started your own business, might not be the best idea to contribute to an IRA. We might want to take a look at a SEP. Might want to take a look at a KEO plan, something that allows you to contribute a little more money. If you evaluate that IRA and you go, you know what, I'm putting $5,500 a year in this thing, and in 20 years, that just not going to cut it. I'm not going to be where I'm at. So we need to really do an evaluation of that IRA contribution, find out where you're at, find out what your goals are. Have they changed in this 2017 year? Are you in an IRA? Possibly you want to go to a Roth IRA. So there's a lot of things there coming into the year that you want to look at. Also, look, let's take a look at opportunities for, I don't know a single person, Mark, on planet Earth that doesn't want to cut some taxes, right?
Very true, very true.
So, coming in here to the end of the year, is there something that we can make a charitable donation to? Maybe you could help your favorite ministry, your favorite church, your favorite, Red Cross or whatever charitable organization you support. And, the Gideons or, I don't know who you support, but possibly it's, we need to make some more charitable donations to get those tax deductions where we don't have to pay as many. And then, also look, let's be sure we offset some gains with losses in our investment category.
Okay, now, Anthony, that one sounds a little more, the other two make sense, but offsetting our gains with losses in our investments. I know there's a term for that and I can't think of it, but that sounds a little more complex. Is that something that's, a little harder than it sounds?
Well, it is a little harder than it sounds. You want to offset those gains because look, there's been a lot of gains in this year in the market.
Okay, right, sure.
Seems like you sneeze and the market jumps 40 points.
Right.
Yeah, capital gains harvesting, and I had a client just earlier this week that tried to launch out into a business and it didn't work out too good in 2017. So they've lost quite a bit of money this year. And coming into the end of the year, we need to be sure that we offset the gains that they've had in their 401ks and their gains they've had in the markets and stuff like that. We just want to be sure we get those losses in there so that they can offset those gains with some of their investments.
Okay, well, that's another good tip. So certainly some good tips here from Anthony so far on fourth quarter planning. 888-557-1993 to talk to Anthony about your fourth quarter planning. Certainly something that you can talk with Anthony about, and he can help walk you through that process. At least one or two more that are kind of simple things we can think about doing?
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely want to get updated estimates on your retirement income streams, things like your pensions, things like Social Security.
Oh, good point.
Yeah, look, what if you're going to depend on rental income for some of your retirement income? These are all things coming in the end of the year that we need to look at. What's your pension going to pay? Is it updated now? What about your Social Security? What about your rental properties? So those are some good things we want to look at. Obviously, you want to create a plan. You want to, if any way possible, you want to try to schedule to pay off some debt and try to pay, as much as you can, work toward becoming debt-free. And, I know a lot of folks I work with in their 70s and 60s and 70s, they're already debt-free. But if not, you want to try to work toward that and obviously create a plan. And then don't forget that you want to rebalance that portfolio. Be sure that you're diversified the right way. And I want to really stress here, Mark, I'm talking about true diversification. I'm not talking about being in 100 different stocks.
Right.
If you're in 100 different stocks and the market collapses, you're going to lose. So I'm talking about true diversification. So we want to be sure that we have true diversification. And the only way you're going to do that is you're going to be able to do that by creating a plan. So that's why I wrote the book, Financial GPS. I wrote that after the GPS that's in your automobile. We get in our automobile every day. We plug in the address where it is we're wanting to go. But when it comes to investing and when it comes to retirement, nobody has a plan. Nobody has a clue where they're headed. So that is the reason I created that Financial GPS report, so that we know where we're headed. We know how we're going to get there. We know what turns we're going to take along the way and what exits we're going to take along the way. We know what your fees are currently. We know what the fees are that we're going to be able to save you. So I would really, really stress getting and creating that plan right here at the end of the year. So, Mark, what I'd like to do today is to help people. We've been talking about procrastination a lot. So to help people kind of get off their hands, if you would, get up on your feet, get the blood flowing, pick up the phone and call. For the next 10 people that call in and get an appointment, I'm going to throw in a copy of my book, Financial GPS. I will throw that in absolutely free for the next 10 people that call and say, Anthony, we want to come in, sit down and talk with you. It's complimentary. It costs you nothing but 45 minutes to 1 hour of your time. And if you'll pick up the phone now and call, get an appointment to come in and talk to me. At the end of that appointment, I'm going to give you a free Financial GPS. And all you got to do is call me. Can't help you if you don't call me. So pick up the phone, call me, 888-557-1993. If you want to text me, then text RSG to 555-888. Or shoot me an email, info@retirementspecialtygroup.com. Look forward to talking to you, folks. Look forward to seeing you. Pick up the phone, call me, 888-557-1993.
All right, retirees, pre-retirees, great offer from Anthony Wright to go ahead and get some fourth quarter planning underway as the year's winding down. Go ahead and take advantage of this offer. Get yourself that personalized financial GPS from Anthony at Retirement Specialty Group. There's no cost, there's no obligation, so why the heck not? Go ahead and call, come in, sit down, have a conversation, walk out with a little bit more knowledge than you came in with, and you might find out that you wind up needing to, get yourself a plan in place. You may find you're doing a good job and you just need a few tweaks here or there, or you may find you need a full-blown comprehensive plan. Anthony's going to be able to help you from point A to point B to point C, but as he said, you got to take the action. There's so much he can do for you, but none of it if he doesn't get the chance to know you. So go ahead, reach out, call, get on the calendar, come and have a conversation, have a cup of coffee, a cookie, whatever that looks like, but most importantly, just come in with a smile and talk with Anthony, because he's certainly going to give you one right back. He's a happy guy and certainly loves talking with his clients and helping people find some financial security, peace of mind, if you will, in retirement. So get that personalized financial GPS from Anthony Wright at Retirement Specialty Group by calling right now, 888-557-1993. That is 888-557-1993. Again, 888-557-1993. As always, you've been listening to Retire the Right Way. The road to financial success has many twists and turns, but a financial GPS from Anthony Wright can certainly help you get to and through retirement. Anthony, thanks for being here, buddy. I appreciate your time as always and your wisdom.
Hey, I always appreciate being on the air with you, Mark. I love it, and have a great week.
Have a great week. We'll talk again next week right here for more of Retire the Right Way.
Information is for illustrative purposes only and does not constitute tax, investment, or legal advice. Always consult with